If you're in the same boat as I am and you have been watching endless hours of Valorant streams just to try to claim your own key for the game, then you and I have a lot in common. And because of that, and because of the fact that I actually finally got myself a key, I am now in a position where I can talk a little bit about whether Valorant is actually worth the wait. Because you will end up watching hours upon hours of live streams from Valorant, dreaming about your own keys, and that dream just keeps getting darker and darker and slowly turns into a nightmare, which seems to be never ending. There is hope ahead of you though, because it is possible to get one. As I said, I got one, and because of that, I want to just share my thoughts on whether this game is actually worth the wait. Is it worth it to sit there and watch all of those streams for you to get your own closed beta access to Valorant? First of all, I'm a guy who does not have a lot of previous experience with shooters. I played my fair share of CSGO, I played my fair share of Fortnite, PUBG, all of those games. Never played Overwatch though, so don't take my word for any of that. But besides that, I have always been quite shit at those games, to be very honest with you. And that is not something that I can provide a lot of good advice on when it comes to whether or not this is a good game, talking the shooter wise, if it's like realistic or closely related to Counter-Strike or anything like that. But all in all, I think it's important to discuss if it's again worth waiting with all of your time that you spend watching those streams. My first experiences with the game upon getting the key were immediate confusion, pretty much, because there's a vast variety of weapons for the game, but there is not really a lot of description to each of the game or each of the weapons. So while the weapon selection does seem very nice, it's also quite confusing getting into. But you know, it's something that you definitely get the hang of quite quickly. Buy menu is quite intuitive, just like it is for CSGO, and you kind of get it in your fingers quite easily what you have to buy and what you have to get. Then the next thing after that, which you also have to buy, is your skills. You have to buy charges for your skills, and that's sort of where the issue starts, because it's hard to remember, and it's hard to remember to use your skills, because it's so unusual to actually have skills in a shooter. All the time you're like, I'm playing CSGO here, I'm playing a shooter game, but then you look down at your bottom bar there, and all of a sudden you have all these random sets of skills, and it just, you know, it feels awkward and not knowing when to use it. Should you use the skill? Should you draw your weapon? What's the better pick here? Definitely, once you get the hang of all of that, it's a fun experience at times, but it also feels a little bit weird to have that set of skills and to play around with skills in a game, in a shooter game like this, all in all. So my mind is quite split about this. I don't really know how I feel about it, but definitely let me know in the comments if you think it's a nice addition or if it's something that just seems a little bit out of hand, to be honest. On the upside of this game though, the game is very easy to get into. You join a lobby, you start playing a game, and then bam, you are good to go. Again, as I said, the buy menu is quite intuitive, so if you are a new player, you will easily get the hang of what you want to buy, what you want to play, and mess around with the weapons a little bit, see what suits you. Again, if you're not used to shooter games, you might not have any freaking clue about what weapon is actually good to pick and what weapon is meta to go. So maybe have a look at what other people play, have a look at what the pros streaming plays with, because you probably spent like a million hours watching them anyway, so you should know by now. You don't have to be a pro to get into this game, because you watched so much gameplay of it already. Besides that, the game has a really nice flow to it. The rounds are a bit short at times, but it definitely forces people to push through maps a lot more than it otherwise would, and I really do like that. And that is something that I know a lot of my viewers, at least on Twitch, have commented a lot about, that the game seems like the rounds are over while a lot of people are still alive most of the time, and that is simply because the rounds are quite short. But as I said, I do not find this a particular issue myself, but I do acknowledge the fact that the rounds are very short, but in my opinion, it forces fast plays, and that's something that I personally value. So I don't really mind it too much, and I think it's it's in a quite good balance right now. But all in all, the flow is just very nice in the game, and it is very easy to get into. So I definitely think that it is something that talks for getting the game and for spending your miserable life watching endless hours of stream trying to get that key. It's, yeah, as you can hear, I still have trauma from it. Besides that, we also have, if we should talk about a bit of downsides to the game, a lot of people really do complain that this is just a CSGO ripoff aspect kind of feel vibe to it. And I must say that I 100% agree with that. It doesn't have a very unique profile at the moment besides the skills, but other than that, it really does not have a lot of variety to it. Would have wished to see just a little bit more creativity from the devs of this game, but I mean, it is also still a closed beta game, so it's not, you know, we cannot expect everything from them from day one, but it definitely feels like any other shooter game at the moment, and I do to some extent acknowledge that that is very much a shame. So I do hope that we will see some changes to this later on, but we will have to see where the development of this game goes. Besides that, I cannot personally really get over having those skills. It's just weird. It doesn't really feel right to have your skills. I want my flashbangs and I want my smokes and stuff. If I am to play a shooter like this, I think I'm too colored by the fact that I've been playing CSGO earlier. But besides that, it of course it seems like it's somewhat balanced, but at the same time it just feels like it creates some weird situation with those skills, and it creates a weird sensation. But I don't know if it's you're so true to the fact that CSGO has been, and Counter-Strike in general has just been such a major player in the shooter game genre for such a long time. I don't know if that is what colors people's minds and their opinions about this game. But all in all, I will say that this game is definitely worth the wait, so do not stress it if you haven't gotten a key yet. Keep watching and just cross your fingers and pray, and I'll cross my fingers for you guys as well. Occasionally streaming Valorant myself, so you can also get your keys in there. Another chance for that, so don't forget to drop a follow on my Twitch, which you can find a link to in the description. That is kind of my thoughts about this game, and I hope that you guys can put this to good use. My conclusion will just be that yes, it is worth it. It's a great game. It's easy to get into. Don't lose hope. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.